Talking of Southern Hemisphere clean sweeps, I mean, let's not forget the sort of peripheral games, if you want to call them that, Italy, Samoa, France, Fiji. And just looking at the teams in general, there's a lot of Saffas all over the show. There's 3 playing for France on Saturday. Rory Cockett on the bench, and then you've got the Scott Speddingard at fullback. What can you tell us about him, Rob?
Yeah, not really a sort of top-line South African provincial player. Like the French tend to sort of pick up these South Africans who haven't really cut it. And I've got to say, with due respect to the South Africans who do end up perhaps playing for France, although Cockett would be an exception because we know that he can be a decent player. He was linked with the Springboks obviously at one point, but then chose French loyalty sensibly, I think, because I'm not certain whether he was going to break into the Springbok setup as things are. But I think it's almost a little bit of an indication of how French rugby is struggling at the moment. It's been in the doldrums, relatively speaking. The French have lost that sort of flair factor, haven't they, over the last few years? And they're going for the sort of solid, rugged sort of players. We've lost the days of what used to be the sort of consistent French flair that just doesn't seem to exist anymore. Their pack isn't even that special either. So although they should take out Fiji, it'd be a massive upset if that goes the other way. But the French team at the moment is not strong, and I don't particularly fancy their World Cup prospects. Although they're the sort of team who can knock over a big scalp on a really, really blood and thunder sort of day. But I'm not even sure if they're capable of that at the moment. So I think they've got a lot of regrouping to do before the World Cup, which of course is now less than a year away.
Yeah, Karen, there's a sort of train of thought that it's the club rugby system in France that is negatively affecting the national side. Particularly with they've got these amazing props, homegrown props that are having to play second or third fiddle for these highly played internationals and stuff, So.
Absolutely. It's the worst thing for the national team is the top 14. There seems to be no limit on foreigners that obviously take the place of French players who are then eligible to play for the national team. You've got so many New Zealanders, so many South Africans, so many English players playing in the top 14 for all those top teams. So like Toulon are the worst thing basically for French rugby. They're French owner who just buys Australians, Wallabies, All Blacks, South Africans, It's now sort of filtered through to the national team where their player depth and player base has been so diluted that they actually just don't have the depth anymore. So they are struggling, and they're having to pick, like you say, South Africans who haven't played for South Africa are now eligible through residency to play for France. So Cockett, while he might not have ever had a chance to play for the Springboks, I'll be interested to see how he goes. We could have picked him once and then never picked him again, and then his chances would have been limited. So I think he's, from his point of view, has made the right decision. It'll be interesting to see how he comes on. He's had a fantastic couple of years in France. I think they rate him fairly highly. Scott Spedding is sort of out of the blue, from KZN, hasn't done a lot, played for the Sharks in the junior levels, come through. We did see videos this week of showing tremendous passion and when he was handed his debut cap. So interesting to see how he fits in. He's a pretty big, strong, rugged-looking fullback. Expect him to run a lot. So they'll be too strong for Fiji. There goes the clean sweep of Southern Hemisphere teams. But France, like Rob said, strange team. At the World Cup in New Zealand last time out, they came close to winning the final, but they were rolled over badly in the group stages by New Zealand as well. So you never really know which French team is going to turn up. At the World Cup, obviously they're familiar with the conditions, so they might be a factor, but not on current form. Something's really going to have to go right for them in the next sort of 10 months.